What's going on, guys? It's Mitch Mass here, coming at you with another Dirt Rate My Ride. This time we are going with the sort of Cheshunt Whitfields area. Kind of connects to Dendongadale, if you really want. It's sort of the King Valley wine region of northeast Victoria, so it's about 50 minutes north of Mansfield, maybe a little bit less. It's about a 3.5 hour drive from Melbourne if you're coming from Metro Melbourne. Obviously shorter if you're in the eastern regions. So it's in the, the access to this is sort of located in a really quiet country town of Cheshunt. You can access it from the Buffalo River Road, so that's more Dendongadale. I can't pronounce it correctly. You can even get access to it from Bright, but you're going on the complete other end, which I haven't actually ridden yet, so that won't be sort of included in this Rate My Ride. This will be more sort of the Cheshunt side of Mount Buffalo, and Buffalo River is really what I did, and sort of south of actual King Valley, and north of about Cheshunt South. It is quite difficult to get to, so that really does put a little bit of a downer on it. But it is worth the trip, especially if you're on an adventure bike, because it really is a nice, good sort of access route there. So the parking access is a little bit difficult. You can park in Cheshunt. We parked just over the bridge when you're coming from Whitfield, but there probably is some more parking closer up. That's just where we decided to park. It is very close to the region I will eventually do a video on, but I don't have any footage from it, which is just north of Marimba. You can actually connect through if you've got the range. So it is one of those really good ones for some of your longer range bikes, or if you've got a support vehicle. But let's get on to it. So the track style and surface. There is a lot of SEC tracks, the old SEC tracks, which is now coming back. If you pay attention politically, we've got all that coming back. So there's a lot of nice, smooth, running surfaces that aren't too difficult to ride on. Super good for adventure bikes, and pretty much any early level riders that haven't ridden before or haven't ridden dirt before. This would be a great learning experience for them, because there's not too much actual climbing and stuff like that, but if you want to, you can slowly build them up, because there is little offshoots that only go for 100-200 meters of just not nice groomed dirt roads that they can start to build some confidence off in those sort of more difficult stuff like that. And then you've got they start to build longer and longer, and you can sort of build that confidence level for them and have them this is a really, and I'm going to stress this, your expert riders might find this a tad boring. I found, and I'm not a high level rider at the moment, I found most of it quite easy. There's only a few sections where even I was a little bit just like, okay, this is actually going to be hard. And those sections were actually avoidable in terms of you could just go around them and stuff like that. So it's not like you've got this daunting hill climbs that are quite nice and graded. There was one that we saw coming off to the side, but we didn't have enough time, and after we'd already decided I was running a bit late, and we turned back early. There is a few river crossings that can be quite difficult along it, especially if you're trying to go all the way through to Bright, be very careful of having a look ahead at the weather and stuff like that. If it has been raining recently and it's expecting to rain, there is a few river crossings that I would just say don't bother. Like the one we saw. If you watch the original video of us coming out, doing a little bit of a scout of this area because we're planning on building some road books for this area and marimba and all of that. So stay tuned for that. I think Nathan's planning on doing all the legwork for that, and I'm just going to be the guinea pig of running them before we let other people have a go at them. But stay tuned. Any road books we, either me or Nathan make, I'll pop them up on a Google Drive, and you can download them and use them and give feedback and stuff like that. But that's for another video. So that's sort of the difficulty level. It's not too hard. Nothing overly thing. The only one was the Ducati track, which was sort of on our way back. If you watch the one that says coffee track or something like that, that's the track I'm talking about. That wasn't it wasn't insanely difficult, but it was probably the highest difficult we did on the day. Other than some awkwardly sludgy bits, but that wasn't actually hard. That was just time consuming. Yeah. The track style and surface, it's your typical graded roads for the most part, with a few sludgy sections. Nothing. No sand, at least that we saw, and not too much clay if there was any at all. So it's, really, once again, I'm going to really stress this is a great one to take your friends that are just getting their feet wet with dirt bike riding, or they've just bought, a big adventure bike like a Versus or a Tenere or a Transalp or they bought one of those heavier adventure bikes that, they're a bit worried about dropping them, because they're not experienced and stuff like that. So this is a great sort of introductory adventure ride for them. The issue is, I'm pretty sure to get to the petrol station in Bright, you need to have full registration. So if you want to do the whole trip all the way through, you either need to bring, have some spare fuel with you, or have a safari, a aftermarket tank that's a little bit bigger. So there's not a heap in terms of the options, about the flexibility about where you're going. There is little offshoots and stuff like that, but there's nothing like, you can do these massive loops and all this stuff. At least that I've seen. This is the first time we've really explored the area, so we'll need to go back again and give it another crack and see what we end up with. I reckon you might be able to get through to Warningata if you're adventurous, but I'm not too sure. I'm assuming you can. That would be an interesting trip, coming basically straight through to Dargo on an adventure bike. That'd be a bit of an adventure, and that looks like it is feasible coming through there, but you may have to detour through some of the local towns to get petrol. The views, it's just there's no nice lakes or anything to look out in unless you go completely south and look for Lake William Hovell, or the William Hovell Dam. But then that's not really the area that we travelled. We went pretty much east from it. So that is one to go adventure, and I'm sure Nathan and I will find a time to go out and get through there. I'm probably going to save that sort of adventure for the Tenere, or a full registered bike, so I can start as a bit of a practice for the off-road stuff. But that's it is a good ride, but great for beginners. Other than a couple of river crossings that they might struggle with, the rest of the track's really good. Nothing overly scary or anything like that, so that's always nice. But so make sure to tune in next time for the next Rate My Ride. We will be doing the next Rate My Ride will be, let's check where I'm up to. So the Lavers Hill Old Ocean Road, so the South Otways section. So I did sort of the north part of that, which was in sort of where you enter through Anglesey. So next time we'll be looking at when Nathan and I went camping at Lapis Hill. So really far down, southwest Victoria, getting close to the 12 Apostles, that sort of area. Jellibrand River, Lapis Hill, all of that section. Yeah, so I'll see you next time. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.